Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Cities Skylines 2. We are in the final episode that I pre-recorded and I'm doing a voiceover in for this piece of the series, and we are expanding the downtown a little bit more. Don't forget, before we get deep into this video, to go ahead and leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you are new, and hit that bell button to make sure you're notified every single time that we go live. This is sort of the more dense portion of the downtown area. Again, the downtown is going to be split into two different sections. They're going to be across the water from each other. So this is very dense for a reason. Like I said, this is based on Pittsburgh. So I had somebody comment on a video or two ago saying that I should really split up some of these buildings. If you go to downtown Pittsburgh, most of these buildings are slapped up against each other. Everything's built one after another because there wasn't a lot of room to build with. And that's sort of the concept that I was taking whenever I came into this aspect of the city. So that's what we're following through with. This is going to get less dense as you push away from it. This front portion piece here, I wanted to do a custom park with it, so there will be more that we do with it, but for now I build the pathways that will go through. There was certain nodes and stuff that you can get into the game through the Paradox mods, which again, I will go ahead and link my mods down in the description of the video, so make sure you check that out if you are looking to see which mods I do use. Those will be linked down below. But those nodes will actually allow you to make custom parks. So they'll give you certain things that you're able to put with inside the parks that give you like better attractiveness, or certain things that will go through and erase your happiness, your attractiveness, whatever it may be that parks can provide for your city. There's different nodes to go ahead and put into the parks that will establish that within your city. So I wanted to put some pathways out to at least get it established that I should not build over here. This is going to be quote unquote my point park. And that's pretty much where I sat with it. I did add some bike paths into here because I did like the bike paths. The bike paths, whenever they do work, they are very nice. And I feel like if I can get more bike paths within the city, which is what I was looking to do here, if I can get some more bike paths through the city, that might allow me to go ahead and reduce the amount of traffic that we have coming through. Now, between the last episode and this episode, these are two different recording sessions. I didn't record these all in one go, but what I did do was allow some time to play in between these two recordings to sort of see what happened to the traffic, because we did start doing the notions of making sure things were only operating in the districts that they were supposed to be operating in. So that's the point that I got to. But I'm going to put a little bit of detail down to this park. Eventually, I'm going to have to do something more in depth with it. I do believe that I take out one of these paths, however, and I enhance the park with two custom buildings, I believe. So we'll see. We'll see whenever I do that. I don't know if I do it right away, but I know I put some benches and stuff throughout the park to make it look realistic to a point. I put trash cans throughout because normally in these big parks and stuff, you do see trash cans in certain places. And I put some of these pavilions because I know that people end up smoking underneath pavilions and stuff. So pavilions come in. But I tried to just make this feel quote unquote alive. I didn't want to do too much with the space and take away the trees and the rocks. I feel like the trees and the rocks themselves is what really makes the park down here. You're supposed to just feel like you're in nature beside the city. So I didn't want to go too crazy with it. But I do go ahead and take these parks right here. I don't know if they come with the game, if that was a recent add-on that they had, but I do put a pedestrian path through here so that way I can go ahead and apply those buildings into the area. So I do remove the normal walking paths, and I'm going to put a pedestrian path down through here. I'm not sure how I feel about it. I wish that you could put buildings on normal paths, but unfortunately you cannot. And I guess I can understand why. It's because like you need to be able to get deliveries to the buildings that are going to be on these paths, because they're the quote unquote commercial buildings. They're parks, but they're restaurants. So you would somehow need to get vehicles down to them to go ahead and deliver what they need. So that was one thing to look out for as well. And I started freaking out because that wasn't connected, but then I realized I didn't attach it to the road up here. So I do end up attaching that pedestrian path up to the road there. But that pedestrian path allows trucks to get down there and make the deliveries that they need to. So, how to do it, but I wanted something down there that sort of made people go down that way. And this building's inside this other building, and I don't understand where this asset came from of why it just popped up on here, but I guess that's a thing that I didn't know was going to happen. I thought that they were custom buildings that you could put down, but they are actually reskinning some of my office spaces. But the office building is bigger than what the plots are for it to go down on, so it really doesn't make sense. But we might end up fixing that eventually, but I just left it go right now as I was trying to be conservative on my time because I had other obligations to attend to within a short period of time of recording this. So I tried to add as much detail as I could into the city, but couldn't really go over the top, unfortunately. And I don't know what to do with this green space down here. I keep thinking to do certain things with it, but these parks don't fit. Um, and some stuff just seems awkward to put over here. So I might just leave it a green space, make it a custom park. I believe that I don't put anything here to my knowledge. I believe I just let it go. So yeah, I just let it go. I move away from it and I just let it go. So, and I also didn't know if I wanted to put basketball courts over here by the low rent housing or tennis courts or anything. So put a little park down over there. We unlocked a few things because of it, but I wanted to sort of felt like there needed to be a green space over by the low rent apartments. It felt like they were sort of out of the loop when it came to items like that. And we were still having issues with no vehicles being to that train station there. So that's why traffic is still pretty bad. I didn't fix that in between recordings. And a lot of these buildings are just way too big, so I truly don't remember what I do with this space here. I believe that I removed this hospital, and I believe that I end up putting a park down in here. I took a second to go ahead and figure out what I was doing. Now, remember, this is like in 2 or 3 times the speed, so it may seem like I'm moving decently fast, but you gotta think that this was over an hour of me recording, so it definitely took me a while to piece together what I was doing in these certain areas and how I wanted everything to flow. But we'll be back into normal episodes here shortly. I felt like this was the nitty gritty, and whenever I get nitty gritty, I usually don't have the ability to talk and commentate over it because I'm thinking so hard into what I want to do. And I felt like that wasn't placed down in there correctly. Ended up putting the park back in. I don't know if I'm going to leave these commercial buildings that got placed in by the park there. I feel like I might. But we'll see if I end up going back and taking them out. But in all necessity, I feel like the density of the downtown feels correct based on what I'm building it off of. This should be dense in the way that it is. Okay, so I made sure that the hospital was connected there. And we still have a ton of traffic going in through here, and I feel like went ahead and fixed traffic to a point, um, trying to make it that people flowed a little bit better through the area. So there's that. Hopefully those double lanes help, but a lot of people are getting off that right exit and going around the city because the interior of the city is getting jammed up, I believe. Yeah, right there to the left, it's getting jammed up in the route that they want to go through. I believe this might be the recording, or maybe while I wasn't recording, I switched some of the 4 lane roads out from split with medians in the middle to normal roads just for the fact of it was causing a lot of people to drive down the road, and whenever they were driving down the road, they would just drive down it in order to turn around. And I really didn't like that, so decided not to do that whatsoever. Got rid of them. Put the normal 2 way 4 lane roads. So that worked out the best. And now we're going to be expanding over into the other portion of the city, And the other portion of the city is going to be the part that's a little bit more on what people were expecting from this portion of the city. And it's going to be less dense. There's going to be more of a focus around university sitting over here because we have the college. The college is way over with the football stadium that's on the other side of the town that has all the row housing and stuff next to it. So we are going to focus instead on a university over here, sort of like Duquesne or Pitt or something like that, that we would be focusing on. And this is going to have a lot lower buildings, not as tall. There's still going to be some skyscrapers over here, but like I said, I wanted to keep it less dense. So if we get into it, you'll see that I start placing a few pieces, but it's not anything too extreme whenever I start doing some of the skyscrapers and stuff that do sit over here. It's going to be very pieced out. Almost feels like these buildings were placed in just because there was enough people graduating from the college that businesses thought, well, enough people graduating from the university that businesses thought that this would be a good place to build these office spaces in different buildings that are coming to the city. So that was one thing that I was definitely looking out for. Now I'm going to take a look here because I figured that I didn't have the island unlocked for me to be able to put down um, blocks or buildings. And then it was about me trying to figure out how to get this situated here. I did go ahead, and this is one of the custom assets from the Paradox mods and stuff. The custom assets that are coming out are absolutely insane recently. Like these guys, these modders are truly blowing Colossal Order out of the water from anything that they ever tried to do. So I'm very pleased with these. I do know that this occurs because I usually run my highways one piece apart, um, just so that way there's sort of breathing room if I ever have to use the move it tool. But I decided that I needed to use the move it tool here to try to straighten this out as much as possible. I realize now that I should have went back and just deleted the one piece of the road and connected it in, but guess we did what we had to do here, and now I have to go through and delete all the trees that are sticking through the highway. So, well, once we get those all straightened out, that flows right down into this intersection here. Then this intersection is going to tie into the other highway. So you don't have to go through main downtown in order to get into this area. You can come over here just straight. I figured out that I should have done it the other way over here, so I do it this way. And I fix this so that flows smoothly now. But that way you don't have to drive through the downtown area, which really you don't. The highway pretty much skirts the side of the city over there. This is going to be more direct, like right through over in this direction. So I'm taking this off ramp off down over here, doing a sort of half circle, and then we're going to. I don't know how I feel about this. Let me know what you guys think. We're gonna do a split road here. So the split road is going to be um, a three-way one direction, and then a three-way one way in the other direction. And that is going to, I believe I changed it to a four-way actually, yeah. So it's four-way in one direction, and then I got four-way in the other direction. And they're just single direction one-way roads, just to keep the entrance and exits of the highway more smooth in this area. And then once I am able to go ahead and have traffic flowing through the city, hopefully this bears it to make it a little bit easier on traffic wise. So people that are leaving the city should be going down the one way, and people that are entering the city should be going down the other one, and it will end up making hopefully traffic be a lot smoother. But this whole road layout that I have over here, I think is going to go pretty well. And I was going to do actually split the whole ways around, but I figured that that was going to take little too much to sort of figure out on planning, so I end up combining them. I switch over to I don't believe it's an 8 lane road, I believe it's a 6 lane. But we'll see here what I do. I gotta remember. No, we go 6 lane. No, we go 8 lane divided. And I'm not sure how I feel about it, but with 8 lane divided, you're able to have trees on the side and in the middle. So I connect it through. I mean, 4 lanes, 4 lanes. I'm figuring there's going to be a decent amount of traffic over here, but not anything too extreme. There's really not going to be any train stations or anything like that. This is going to be pretty much car traffic over here. Again, I'm basing this off of a American city, so you sort of got to bear with the idea that there really isn't train stations or anything over our way. I mean, there might be a few. There might be like 3 or 4. You might have a subway here or there. But we don't have anything too extreme except for when you get like Los Angeles or New York City or something of the sorts. So I ended up taking this. I do like this 8 lane road that I do around here. I do gotta say there's a little piece of it that's going to be coming up that I really like within the where I elevated some land. Um, it allowed me to sort of do a feature that I'm going to want to do in the later build section of this. And it's going to be right here. So we have to figure out a way to go over the highway, and I didn't want to just like bridge this up and do like a bridge around the loop. I wanted to make it flow. I wanted to make it feel like it deserved to be here. Wanted to make it feel like this highway may have came in at a later time to do the extension piece or something of the sorts. Or the highway was already here to get out of the city and we built around it. There's always that story that you got to figure out of what's going on in your city. But I wanted this to sort of loop around this edge. I didn't want to tuck it in anywhere. I didn't want to take away the space that we have in the center of the island. So I wanted to make sure that this ring road completely went around the outside of this. So I needed to get this smoothed out and situated. So once I get this all graded out, I'll take this 8 lane road up through. And I gotta sort of be delicate about it because if I just try to run it across, it doesn't work. So I gotta do this in a two-way process. I gotta actually raise it up. Once it's raised up, I can fix it afterwards. So I get this, I try to get it as close as I can. I gotta do 5 meters above the ground to make it work. I then lower this back down to 0. Go ahead and turn that over there. And then I do this little piece here where I have to bring this back up. I don't want it as sharp. I need to make sure that it blends correctly, not as smooth on the one side, so that way the bridge goes over top. So that's how I wanted the other side to go as well, but I sort of didn't get that. So you got to remove that, take that to the ground, and then remove this portion of the bridge and take it over that way. So I end up doing that little position there, letting it snap back on, and there we go. The bridge goes across and the highway can go underneath, and then this 8 lane road can flow back through the edge of the map here. I tried to tuck it as much as I could just to keep it flowing correctly. I didn't want anything too extreme going on. So there we go. We get that level back in here. Then we take the 4 lane roads off of it. And there we go. There is the ring road for our portion of our city here that will allow traffic to get through. And we will build some of the other basis roads off of this. I'm not sure what that's going to be for. I might use it to go ahead and pump water out of the river system right there because that's a road that gets close enough. But I'm not too sure entirely what I do. I took a step back here and I really started trying to imagine where things would sit. The one big piece that I wanted to make sure was going to happen was between the ring road and where the two highways connect. There's that green space right there. That's where the college is going to sit. And I sort of wanted to work away from that. So I'm going to take a road out over here. That's going to give me the basis of what happens over in this area. So we get this straight road that comes out of here, and then this actually turns in over here. So we got this road pieced, and that sort of messed up, so I had to recreate it. But we got this road pieced in over here, which will allow us to build off of it a little bit. There will be a skyscraper that goes in over here. There's going to be a school over, an elementary school over in this area. And there's also going to be a few housing places. There's also going to be housing within the centerpiece right here, which is where the college is going to be. So I had to make sure that the college was going to fit. So you're going to see that I'm going to ring road this a little bit itself, just as a piece. So I take this up and then duck it underneath the highway here, which I think that I took the idea of this from over in the other portion of the city, where we had a piece of highway piece of roadway that ducked underneath the arch bridge that comes off the highway over there. And then I get this piece here, and then this road that I'm placing in right now. Once this road gets placed in, it's actually going to get moved at a later date. And the reason for it is because I thought that there was enough room over here to the left for what I needed for the college. There absolutely was not enough room. So we took those two roads there to try to make a piece. I end up moving this one right now, but the other one will get moved eventually to go ahead and put down the university. And then I sort of wanted some gridding over here. There's going to be some office spaces. Almost make it look like the highway cut through there, and we had to split the roads up. So, but then I remembered there was a hill there, so I didn't go that way. I will actually connect it down through in that regard. So it sort of matches like from left to right over there. Almost like there used to be a grid that was connected and then the highway came through and split it up. But that's going to be the basis grid for what's going on in the lower part of the city. And I kept saving throughout recording because I was having issues where my game was crashing. I believe it was due to the hospital that was in game that was made before the asset editor came out. I ended up taking that back off of my list, and then it sort of wasn't crashing as much. I also started recording using my CPU instead of my GPU because I feel like there's a possibility that my GPU is the bottleneck whenever it comes to this game. I'm not entirely sure, but you guys may see the quality sort of go down a little bit, and if so, I apologize, but I have to do what I have to do to make sure that these cities are running correctly. And another hard thing is that with all these custom assets in the game, some things aren't going to run as smoothly, so there's certain stuff that we gotta look out for. But here's some of the skyscrapers that are going to get placed in. Needed to make sure that we somehow had a way to get water and electricity over here to the island. So I got water over, and then we had to figure out the electricity portion here, which will go right here on the edge of the map. And we're getting into the nitty-gritty sort of stuff now because it's going to allow us to build what we want over here. And I'm so excited for this university center. The less dense area of the downtown is going to be so nice. But if you guys did enjoy the video, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and hit that bell button to make sure that you are getting notified every single time that we post a video or go live. But here is the new area for our upcoming downtown piece. I hope you guys enjoyed. My name's Chase, and I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm out. Peace.